let me share my thought on why we got into this business and what is the need for innovative technologies for this country and where we are headed to as an organization and what kind of challenges we face so far. Because I'm going to focus only on the innovation and invention. I'm not going to talk anything outside that market or something like that. Say for example, India is a different animal. The size of the country, the population, or the languages that we speak and the culture that we follow, it's completely different. So if we have to adopt certain processes or technology that has been tested and working outside this India, say Western economy, sometimes it will work, many a times it will not. If it works, it will work very, very powerfully. For example, 850 million mobile users is a very clear example. But at the same time, out of 850 million, what is the ARPU? In India, I think in US, whatever ARPU we are seeing is much higher than Indian ARPU, which may probably the entire revenue that the telecom companies are making here may be much less than the American mobile user, what they are paying every month or year. So to say, economically also there is a challenge. And why do we need innovative technologies? Because imagine a country with 1.2 billion population, with 48% of them less than 20 years, or 22 years. Now we are going to see a tremendous surge in the transaction volumes in the next 5 to 10 years. For example, take one small transaction, say we do tax filing. There are going to be millions of new tax filers that the country is going to see, the tax department is going to face. How can they manage? They cannot establish more tax officers. They cannot bring in 100,000 employees to handle these tax returns. It's completely linear model. Now in the last 3 years, they moved online model. That's very powerful. Today, the government is very happy about it, and the individuals are happy about it. Refunds are coming in time. This is the change that the innovation is bringing in. Because for filing tax returns with the Indian tax structure, with the Indian ecosystem, we need to develop completely a new process, a new technology. That is what, in my opinion, an innovation is. We have to be innovative for the need or for the purpose.
So you start from innovation in the market, or in the innovation has to, or the impulse for innovation has to come from the market?
Not necessarily. I wouldn't consider, because the market is used to certain levels of maturity. Because if had we waited for the market to react for the mobile, I don't think we would have taken on with 880 million users today.
Okay.
It's some, for want of a better word, I'm saying the consumerism is also required. Educating the consumer and then making sure that they understand and then they use it. I'll give you an example. When I was young, we used to buy a cloth and then stitch a shirt. And I don't even know when they moved away from that concept to a ready-made shirt concept. Did ready-made shirt manufacturers position this, push it in the market? No. Did the market expect them to develop? No. I think it is more a need of how many tailors this country can have. There is a restriction. Tailors, they do really want to be in that profession. There is a different attitude. So that made the whole or the landscape for the tailoring to change. In the same way, these changes, possibly organizations are taking step forward to understanding these basics. For example, there will be 200 plus million first-time earners in this country in the next 10 years. Who is going to support that? For example, a banking system or an e-filing system or applying for a PAN card, whatever name you call it, they are going to get through that. And now look at that community. They do not know what a post office is.
Correct.
They do not possibly, they could have not used their pen other than signing their hall ticket for getting into the exams. And nowadays, I think recently even the universities and colleges, they are also moving towards e-model. So now if you ask them to take a paper and then fill, for them it's going to be it's a nightmare for them. So that is a need. So for India, to address that need, we as an organization, we got into this consumer services business. So when we got into this consumer services business, we understood well there could be certain methods or processes that is working well abroad. Possibly it will not work well here, because the fundamental point is street smartness and smartness on the street. When we talk about street smartness, in India you will see street smartness. The smart streets you will see in Western economy. Smart street, not, the street smartness is not necessary there, but here it is mandatory. You have no choice, because your streets are not smart. One of them should be smart. So now that is where I think if you see missed call, missed call is an Indian invention. Mobile was invented by somebody else. There is nowhere in the world we can see missed call. At least when it was popular, I think, when it was introduced. Because taking the call is expensive. Inbound and outbound calls were charged. It was like 32 rupees. Now it is whatever cost it is, but that is expensive. Now how can I avoid that? So at the same time, there can be a passive communication. If you see, the Indian culture is also playing a major role. Culturally, I don't think in a Western economy, if somebody is going outside their house, the people at home, they will expect that person to call and then say, I'm safe. In India, culturally, we are used to saying that, okay, if you are going out of town, you will communicate back to them, say, I have reached. So now, how can I, without spending, can I communicate? Because this is not there is nothing economical benefit that I am going to get other than satisfying my, my expectations. That's it. So now a missed call is enough. If I give a missed call, that means I reached. So you are using that. This is invention. The invention, I wouldn't call it only technology as an invention. On the other side, when we started this organization in 2008, we sensed that most of the Indian technology companies, they were deeply into supporting the developed economy. They cannot come out because they are committed, they are working, and the business model is evolved over a decade, supporting them, sending people, developing technology for them. So they had to continue with that. Can they break it and then consolidate Indian market? Very difficult in terms of economy, in terms of the non-linear and linear model, and in terms of changing their entire quality system and processes. Everything is different. If any business will have cost dimension, time dimension, and service dimension, quality dimension. So all these dimensions will go for a task. So they couldn't concentrate. So then we realized this is the need for the country, and there is a space. That's why we got it. And of course, when you have to get into this kind of a very futuristic business model, we have to be a little non-linear. The minute when you get into non-linear, invention is the only way. The new way of doing things, and then changing the rule of the game, these are all very essential. So if you see all our applications, for example, we are talking about making a retail payment without, it's enabling consumer to use their existing devices for doing certain things. That's what, differently. At the same time, reducing the pressure on the transactions volume. Because ultimately what we are trying to do, for example, if you are on taxmail.com, people can file their income tax return. What we are trying to do is we are reducing the pressure on the transaction system. Otherwise, assuming that so far 300,000 returns have been filed using taxmail.com, 300,000 into at least about 15 to 20 sheets of papers would have been used.
Yes.
So we are talking about like 6 million paper sheets. 6 million possibly will reduce to 40,000 trees or 4,000 trees. I don't know. It could be in thousands.
Correct.
So now that is a indirect benefit. And also for processing this 60,000 paper, 300,000 paper-based return, assuming one person is capable of doing 100 returns, the government should have, 3,000 people's time would have gone in. So this is how we are helping the pressure on the transaction. So online banking, mobile payment, online loan processing, online insurance, these are all different, technology-enabled processes that we are bringing in for the Indian consumer. So in my opinion, invention is necessary, but when the usage of the invention, whatever technology that we are bringing in by way of invention, popularizing that, and again fighting against the conventional model and making sure that the consumer understands that these are all the challenges. So it will have its own curve. But once popular, for example, when the mobile phone came in, it took at least about 4 years. The first generation mobile operators in this country disappeared. The second generation took on. But the point is, it was a high cost, high investment proposition. But what we are trying to do is build a pyramid kind of assets. So one-time investment, so it will go on. For the next 20-25 years, it should support our business. That's what we are trying to do. So invention with these challenges, a right business model with right prediction and predictability, profitability, sustainability with good de-risking model will make our objective helpful for the society. That's ultimately what we are out here for.